course the king's brother is terrified right now because he knows the history of what happens when a senior royal member gets arrested, especially when it comes to dudes who think they're above the law. Meet King Charles I, the only reigning monarch who was arrested, tried, and executed by his own government. This man ruled thinking he was totally untouchable and only answered to God until he was arrested, just like Andrew. Charles I was given a fair trial by his government before they executed him, but his crimes didn't involve children. But what Charles did that got him was he dissolved his parliament multiple times. He also continued to raise taxes without anyone's consent. For 11 years, this man continued to piss off the regular people, his fellow royals, and his politicians until finally they arrested him. His arrest shattered the notion that powerful men, even kings, were untouchable, permanently altering the power dynamic men of power at the very top had over regular citizens. His fall from grace and ultimate execution proved that he was just a man. Even powerful men should face justice for their crimes.
Hey everybody, Donald Trump finally took it too far, even for the Supreme Court. So they took away his precious tariffs by a 6-3 vote. And here's the thing, this decision has major consequences for Trump's agenda in other areas too. Let me explain. I'm Liz Oyer, the former pardon attorney for the Department of Justice. Trump's tariffs were an unprecedented power grab because our Constitution specifically says that the power to impose taxes belongs to Congress, not the president, and tariffs are a type of tax. But Trump argued that he was allowed to impose tariffs because the president has special powers in times of national emergency under a law called the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. So what's the national emergency, you might ask? Well, the emergency Trump cited is our trade deficit, meaning the fact that we import more goods than we export, which has actually been the case since the 1970s. And just as an aside, our trade deficit actually reached an all-time high last year after Trump tariffed everybody up the wazoo. Anyway, the Supreme Court slapped down the argument that Trump can use emergency powers to impose tariffs. It was a 6-3 vote. Chief Justice Roberts wrote the opinion, joined by Justices Gorsuch and Barrett, both appointed by Donald Trump. Here's what I think is the most important part of the opinion. 3 conservative justices said that the president cannot use emergencies as a pretext for usurping the powers of Congress. In other words, the president cannot just declare a fake emergency to do an end run around the constitutional limits on his power. That's a big blow to Trump's whole agenda, not just his tariffs. A major part of Trump's presidential strategy has been to exploit emergency powers in order to do things that he otherwise would not be allowed to do without approval by Congress. Trump has already declared at least 12 national emergencies during his second term, which is more than during Biden's whole presidency. He has used so-called emergencies to justify hundreds of executive actions, including mass deportations, blowing up boats, boosting production of fossil fuels, and many other things. But now the Supreme Court is finally saying enough with all the emergencies. By striking down the tariffs, they're taking a big step toward reining in Trump's powers. They're also reminding Congress that they have a role to play here too. So maybe it's time to wake up and start using their powers instead of letting the president walk all over them. Of course, Trump is raging mad that 2 of the 3 justices he put on the Supreme Court voted against him. He called them a disgrace to the nation, which is a sign that they are finally doing something right.
Was she told not to? Is that why Nancy's missing? I'm telling you, all types of shit is connected. I keep saying this shit when I was making the videos for the fraud here in Columbus with the Somalis and the daycares and all the other shit attached to it. I kept saying all this shit's connected. It's all connected. It's fucking sick. It's sick. I still don't think most of y'all are prepared to take in everything. But it's crazy. And while I'm thinking about it, I even said when I started talking about this shit here in 23, and my life was threatened then, but worse things happened. Like it was hell. It was a living hell for months. Like there's reasons. Because when you start talking about the shit, of course, some people, I guess whoever hones in on your searches and what you're looking at, what you're reading, and whatever, right? on your devices, and then shit starts happening, right? So I wasn't surprised that speaking out again, starting like the end of November, that this shit would end up happening again. But just know I didn't stop because of that and them threatening my life every day and going past my house and shit. I stopped because American people that was viewing my content just wasn't prepared to. They just didn't care. Did not care. There was a handful of people that understands and cares, because I show proof. I'm not somebody gonna get on here and talk you to death about nothing. I always show proof of whatever I'm talking about in the video. I'm showing proof of what the hell I'm talking about. And I mostly show public information. That way y'all can go search and see it for yourself. You know what I mean?